I believe in integrating technology into the classroom. By technology, I mean music, vlogs, videos, educational video games, photography and cameras, and assistive technology. Technology can utilize auditory, visual, and kinesthetic and linguistic learning, which are all multiple intelligences created by developmental psychologist Gardner. An example of how this works is a news report project for students. The students would write a script out in a group after, synthesizing and summarizing a reading that they had, and then they would use social learning to communicate and figure out who's going to play which roles. And this also utilizes linguistic learners as well. Students would then take turns recording using iMovie or some other kind of movie recording product. And this would go up on, say, like YouTube, unpublished, but that utilizes some of the kinesthetic learning that students would have through hands-on experience of making and creating this news report item. An example of this would be zombies. Say you gave them a reading that was on like the characteristics of zombies, which is something that we've done within this technology class. They would then pick out the important parts, like do they smell humans better? Do they have like night vision? Are they super strong? And through that reading, they would pick out the really crucial parts that would then show that they could condense down the larger information, and remember it enough to report on it. They would know it well enough to actually speak it in a video confidently. They could also do this by dressing up in the video, like I did. I dressed up as a zombie and I made it from the perspective of a zombie. They could also do it from the perspective of someone interviewing a zombie and take turns, which is a really great way to show versatility in the content. Another really important aspect of this project is that they would then show their presentations to the class along with turning in their papers. This helps auditory learners and visual learners by observing the presentations and listening to what other students are saying. It also allows students to interact in multiple ways with the same information. This also reinforces mastery of a topic. So this gives the opportunity for the student to excel at the project and show it, which reinforces self-efficacy, that they can actually do these things, even if it is more difficult for some students and they need a little bit more support. Technology is all around us and constantly being improved to make teaching in a differential way easier. Teachers can utilize test administering applications and give real-time feedback, further instruction before the class is even over. An app that I really enjoyed getting to use in this class was Socrative. So Socrative allows the teacher to create a test and then administer it, but they can also see real time what students are answering during the test, give feedback. They can print out other information and the results of it and get real time knowledge of what is working for the class and what isn't. This can also let a teacher know, like, say one question you did wasn't the greatest. If all of the students are having a hard time with it, you can know right then and there that wasn't working and you need to reword it or talk about it right at the end of class instead of waiting till the next day when that information might have already left their brains. This also lets a teacher strategize before next class about possible revisions for content and where they need to go next. So say the students really weren't getting any of the content that was on the test, you may need to figure out another lesson that goes back and actually reinforces the information you were trying to get across in the first place. So a different way, a different project that allows them to connect with the content better. Technology such as Dragon or dictation apps allow teachers or students to record their speech and turn it into text. Technology can be incredibly useful when dealing with English language learners, ELs, and specifically those who are deaf or hard of hearing. These students now have notes from the entire lecture to ensure the interpreter didn't miss a single thing. It allows the students who are deaf and hard of hearing to not have to worry about missing a single sign while trying to write. They can also concentrate on the lecture and the projects that are in front of them and the interactions with the other students, as opposed to not being able to have the full classroom experience like everyone else because they're so worried about, can I take these notes? Am I missing something that someone's saying? Am I missing a sign as it's happening? Or trying to recollect about what I just watched and then trying to take notes afterwards. This relates to Pavio's dual coding theory, which states that equal parts nonverbal and verbal representation are needed for processing information. By utilizing this technology, you as a teacher can provide verbal and nonverbal representation through the form of notes, and then them also being able to see the pictures, the PowerPoints, the videos, whatever other supplemental activities you have planned. And in that moment, make meaningful connections with other students that they might be collaborating with. This is especially important because deaf and hard of hearing students are noted to have usually feelings of isolation, depression, and feeling alone. This is because they don't feel like they can connect as much with other students when in like a general classroom in a public school. A way of utilizing this is having them form certain team or paired groups, no more than 3 people max, and have connections through verbal and nonverbal practices so that they can actually sit there and talk with a person and see the visuals of it and have actual social learning occur, even with a language barrier of, say, they know ASL and have to lip read someone else. Another way that you can utilize the video aspect technology is through the original storytelling project that we did in class, where a student would create a story or say a longer poem if they're working on poetry within the English classroom. And I personally would have them either draw those different panels in 10 or so photos, or they could go out and actually take photos, say something like this, which is a subway in Japan from one of my trips, and they would write a poem about that, put them in the video with their audio overlay or text overlay, and show their poem in now a presentation or video. This allows them to make meaningful connections with the content of writing a poem and how to do that, but also having fun with making it something that they're interested in what the topic is that they're going to be writing about. This adds relevance to how they would use it elsewhere because they now have investment in the art that they've created. I also believe in showing diversity within the classroom. Some classrooms aren't going to have as much diversity as others. So say I'm teaching in Korea and the students are primarily Korean. I think it's really important to show videos of people from all over the world, say videos from Bollywood that are connected to it or from America, and showing them a broad spectrum of people and different that connects to different content that you're doing. An example of this is say I play the SNL video plagiarism when I'm bringing up relevant information on how to cite sources within a paper. This gives them a visual representation, which is really important when you're connecting back to Wiley's hierarchy, which states that for the amount of text rising, you also need equal parts visual representation for that. So say you give a handout that's on citation and it's like 3 pages long on how to do it in MLA format. By showing a video, they connect in a funny, meaningful way that information, and it makes it relevant to them. Overall, while I do feel that sometimes you can go overboard with using technology in the classroom, I think that it is a tool that we can use with appropriate connections to the content and the Common Core standards. For all instruction and assignments in the classroom. There's different types of technology that'll work for certain projects and some for others, but I believe it's not a nemesis. It's more of a series of tools that we as instructors can utilize to make the lesson content relevant, interesting, and give students a different learning types the abilities and chance to succeed in the classroom by gaining mastery through like visual learning, kinesthetic, auditory, linguistic. By switching those out, you're giving all different students a chance to succeed.